Sorry.
And we're live! Before we get started, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse and redistribution of this product by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that
I love that word.
At bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. And welcome to Anarchy Among Friends, episode 18, The Redo. We had some technical difficulties last week.
I think that's pronounced redux.
I pronounce it however the fuck I want because I'm an American.
Right? America, we speak American, damn it.
I'm American using American using a French word. I can say it however I want.
Tell them.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties last week due to there being no internet. So
that's called cultural appropriation.
Yeah, so we're here this week with the full cast. Derica's knitting something, Dan's smoking something.
Crochet.
Mark.
It is crochet.
Whatever.
It's crochet.
I believe it's pronounced crocheting.
It's crotchet, damn it. It's crotchet.
Crotchet?
Crotchet.
Crotcheting.
Crotchet. Yep. Let's see. 37 seconds. Yet we're off to a bad start already.
I call this a great start.
Great start. Good job,
I have
guys.
to agree with Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't disagree with Derica.
Pat on the back.
She's crotcheting over there like, Laura Ingalls.
Pioneer woman.
That's right. I have been doing a little knitting too lately. A little bit of knitting. Shit, I need something to do with my time since my business is all fucking packed up while we're waiting for someone to buy our house.
Yeah.
Sad days.
They'd probably buy your house quicker if you bought baked yummy things in it for them.
Yeah, well.
Just saying. And since you're baking yummy things, you might as well send them to your friends.
Yeah, for real.
We discussed it pre-show, and we already know how to sell her house, right? And it's the next person to come through to look at it, tell them if they don't buy it, that you're going to send Declan home with them.
Right. Yeah.
Very few people can handle the wild Declavore.
Right.
Dude.
It's true.
Yeah.
So. So. I got to bring this up. Right? You see this little 49ers hat?
Yeah.
49ers shirt. You know why? Because of Mike fucking Pence. You guys hear about that, Mike Pence, today?
No.
No, God bless him.
Mike Pence.
Or Allah bless him.
Mike Pence went to the
Ganesh bless him.
Went to the San Francisco 49ers Indianapolis Colts game today. Right? And he's in the stands and he's shaking hands with people and taking pictures and all this. And then the national anthem comes on.
Well.
And several players from the 49ers kneeled during the national anthem. Mike Pence, because according to his tweet, he was offended that the 49ers players disrespected the troops and the flag in America, that he left the stadium. Right, and then right after the story broke on the news, Trump
cue the fucking Star Spangled Tears.
Trump tweets that he told Mike Pence to leave if people kneeled for the anthem.
Oh damn! Got that fucking leash on short, tight.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. And the best part is this is the best part right here. Tax dollars paid for his seats.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You cannot get more. I had to put the gear on just to rub it in Mike Pence's face and say, So I'm wearing.
All I have to say is
I'm wearing the hat for you, Mike.
For taxpayer-funded tickets, I'd ride a fucking red, white, and blue unicycle up and down the fucking stands the whole entire game. He
had fantastic seats too. He had incredible seats.
He is the Vice El Presidente.
Now, was it in San Francisco?
Indianapolis.
Isn't that where Isn't Pence from Indiana?
Who cares?
Yep. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
I barely follow any of this anymore. I've just.
And then the icing on the cake of the whole thing, right? The icing on the cake. The picture that Pence tweeted, saying that he left because disrespected, blah 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 blah. Right? The picture that he tweeted wasn't even from that game.
Huh.
It was a picture. It was a picture taken of him from a different Indianapolis Colts game.
Hashtag authenticity.
No shit.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not the picture he tweeted. It's the picture that his staff tweeted.
His handlers, yeah. So.
Yeah, or handlers, whatever.
And Dylan makes a really
Give him a
good
paid
point.
vacation.
Dylan makes a really good point. He says the NFL has murderers, rapists, and domestic abusers, but oh no, don't kneel.
Right? Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about the rest of that. People.
He's just happy because the Lions are doing something so far.
Yep. And our favorite bacon baker, Paul Gordon, says Trump is finally standing up to the PC culture and has a meltdown over my flag. Yeah, very true, Paul.
I forgot about it all because the Giants got that streak going, man. They're fucking on fire.
Yeah, Ofer, huh?
Shooting for that number 1 fucking draft pick.
Hey, Niners are going to beat you. Niners are going to beat you at the bottom. We're Ofer also.
Nice.
Unlike Paul's Eagles.
The Niners are going to beat some bottoms.
There's no tight ends in San Francisco.
They might be spanking a little ass.
I'm sure Pence was grateful that the game wasn't played in San Francisco because, his fucking, you would have had a flare up of fucking homophobia and shit.
Have like a numb flashback.
Yeah, right.
But like a college days flashback.
Some 60-year-old man's sack tickling his fucking lower jaw.
Yep, gonna have to bang my head against the wall to kill that memory, Dan. Thanks.
You're welcome.
You guys are just terrible people, and I love you.
Oh, I want to say, bless Jason for fucking helping me maintain my fucking some semblance of a fucking sanity during this week ban that I had going on.
Dude, are you back yet?
Not yet. Tomorrow.
He's counting the minutes until he can get back on and catch another ban. Right? That's exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got scratches on the wall counting the hours.
He should keep scratches on the wall counting his bans. Dan, do you even know how many times you've been banned yet? Like at this point.
I want to say this year alone, probably at least 10 times.
Nice.
At least. I mean, I haven't been keeping track.
How'd you catch a ban this time?
I'm not even sure. They didn't even send me a notification.
They don't even bother with you anymore. They're just like, like that motherfucker knows what he did.
Fuck yeah! Here's your 30 days.
But like this, Dan is so bored that he fired up his Instagram account and started using it again.
Yeah, dude.
What?
Or he could just use his Telegram account.
And not the Heisenberg Instagram account, like the actual Dan the Animal Instagram account.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's been fucking blowing me up on Telegram.
Yep.
He doesn't talk to nobody talks to me on Telegram.
Well, I'm almost never on it. I always forget that I have it. So
Paul says you should fire up your MySpace, Dan.
Oh man.
Get over there. Get over there.
Machine.
Get over there, and you could be a SoundCloud rapper.
Well, you could hop on
once
AOL,
a long time ago.
AOL Instant Messenger. But...
Wait, you can't.
Not anymore. No.
They finally
You know what we should all do is get like OK Cupid accounts or something. And just use that as our social networking.
I bet my account gets more action than your guys's.
Probably. You would get all the Bob and Vagine requests.
That's right. That's right.
It's like Kevin operating under like 10 different accounts and shit, sending her fucking Robin Vagina requests.
Seriously, that would not.
Speaking of our favorite Fed, did you see what he posted, Jason?
No. What am I missing?
Guess who has their own? I don't know if you can see it here or not.
Oh yeah, the Cash Me Outside girl.
Jesus Christ.
Hell yeah.
It's the Cash Me Outside Halloween costume for babies.
That's even better.
At this
that
point,
makes it awesome.
Like
I'm done. I'm done with the reality.
Giving her a rap contract and making her a millionaire wasn't enough.
This is
like
where I'm
now
at
they're
right now,
trying
guys.
to turn her.
I love it when stupid people get made famous. I just love it. Like Honey Boo Boo, I think that's the greatest thing ever.
Hear me out. Hear me out on this one, right? Because this is where I'm at, like in terms of like my ability to cope with reality anymore. Like I'm ready to like tell somebody to just like fucking like strap my head in a burlap sack with a fucking badger that's like
right.
That's just been like starved for like 3 weeks and just let it just claw my eyes out. And
just let you out like every 2 weeks to come on the Anarchy Among Friends.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'll probably be so like destroyed after the first like 5 minutes that you'll have to bring me back like Stephen Hawking style.
Right. We could give you a little keyboard to talk with.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well worth it, dude.
Dude, that would be so fucking funny.
Of course, we'd have to sit here and wait 5 minutes while he types out his jokes.
Right? Seriously.
Just type them out beforehand, Dan, and then you can quick option them and.
You know, all he really needs is a selection board of he needs like a selection board of like Dan's inner monologue memes.
Yeah, dude.
He can just pull one up for each reaction. They could be like emojis for
him. Fuck. This is what life has become.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking's gonna be jealous.
That's awesome.
Fuck Stephen Hawking.
Well, this is the direction society's heading. You guys saw what Caleb put on his schoolwork when I asked.
That was absolutely fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. For anybody who didn't see it, I asked my 10-year-old at homeschool, and I asked my 10-year-old to tell me what another planet would need on it for humans to be able to survive on it. And he puts, air, water, food, resources, predictability, things like that. And then at the very end of his list, he wrote memes. We have to have memes for human beings to survive.
Well, hell yeah.
Smart kid. That kid's gonna change.
Let me tell you about some funny homework, though. Actually, it's not funny. It's kind of, it's actually like Dan was saying with the burlap sack and the badger strapped around my head. This has made me want to do it. Somehow, I have several Facebook friends that have posted this fucking thing of, it's a homework assignment, and the kid's answer was Pinochet, and
I saw that.
Drew a picture with tossing commies. Oh my god! If I have to see, and I'm Facebook friends with this dude. I don't know who he is. But like several other of my Facebook friends are like, yeah, bring on the physical removal. That's fucking great. And I'm like, oh my god, I've fallen into a fucking alt-right retard land here.
Well, I guess it's a good thing I'm banned, because I'd probably be on that list too.
Well, you could be on that list.
Yeah.
We know you're doing it ironically, though, Dan.
Exactly. And that's the thing that people don't get half the time. Like, I do it to be a dickhead. And then, like the one time, I forget whose post it was on, but I made, like, a profile picture of, like, evil Kermit with, like, the, you know, like, the okay hand sign with, like, with, like, an Illuminati, like, fucking all-seeing eye, like, layout over top of it. You know, just to be, like, a, you know, dickhead to the max. And like some dude fucking like on the left like totally took it seriously and was like, "Oh, you're an all-right scumbag. You're a fucking Nazi." And I'm like, like, how can you not see that like I'm being like a total dickhead like and trolling you?
That's fucking hilarious. I don't know who would do sick shit like that though. I mean, it's like the same kind of fuckers that like make blackface and finger faces on their fingers.
Dude, that shit is hilarious. Oh my god.
Oh man. I mean,
people are such dickheads. I fucking love it. I love it.
Yeah, I would never, you know, like alter a meme to put someone's face on it just to, you know, make fun of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but I know this guy who did.
Okay.
He did a really funny one with a Liberty Hangout Bukake session. That shit was funny.
I remember that one.
That was like
that shit was...
Austin Peterson was on that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know who did that.
It was it was Cantwell, Jared Howe, Eric July, and Justin. What's his nuts? That's always on Backwards Live with those guys. They were just having a good old time. I can't believe somebody caught a photo like that.
Bless them.
I didn't think that was a meme. I think that was actual footage.
Yeah.
Word? What did I miss?
Oh, we'll have to find it for you.
Yeah, Justin Modlow.
Yeah, he was sucking off Cantwell, and in July was jerking off Jared. I don't know. It was crazy. I didn't actually see the video. But they swear that there's a video out there of like, you know, and that's after like one of their Liberty Hangout strategy meetings, I think. Or maybe that is the strategy. I don't know.
Oh man. Maybe information download.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm sure that meme will resurface. That dude picture that dude caught. I can't believe he fucking got that shit.
Oh my god. Are we done with this yet?
Like, so
I don't
know. Paul just admitted that he unfriended and blocked Justin.
Really?
Like a month ago. Like, and Paul never blocks anybody.
Almost.
I'd fight Paul.
You'd fight Paul? You hear that, Paul?
Oh, absolutely.
Paul, where's your answer, man? Dan wants to fight you.
We're gonna throw down.
And you know how many times he'd win? The fucking Eagles have won the Super Bowl.
Oh,
the Eagles.
Oh, you're gonna make Paul cry. Next thing you're gonna say you like fried bacon instead of baked bacon.
Woo! No. We can agree on that.
Well, at least we did finally convert Paul to the correct bacon method.
So in this scenario, Dan's like the bouncer at the Salty Spittoon. They keep sending SpongeBob back to Weenie Hut Jr.
Oh, man.
How tough are you? I want to step on a Lego and cry.
Super Weenie Hut Jr.
Oh, dude.
The rainbow cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You can't write this shit, dude. What the fuck?
I'm still waiting for the video to catch up for Paul to respond to your challenging him.
Ooh. The gauntlet.
Yeah, so
thrown.
The live is like, I don't know, like 2 minutes, or the YouTube is like 2 minutes behind us. So.
Got that third world status going on.
Paul says the rainbow
travelers.
Paul says the Rainbow Cabin was awesome, and that he would hire a proxy to fight Dan.
Of course.
Fight me.
Very U.S. government of them.
And by proxy, he means Andrew Mayer.
Oh. Shiver me timbers now. Fucking Christ.
Oh. God, I fucking missed you guys.
Oh, very much.
It's only like,
even though I've talked to you like pretty much every day.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not
we
the same.
chatted
it's not
for.
The same.
I know.
What people might not know is that last week when we couldn't get the live feed to come up on YouTube,
you guys
chatted. Right. Yeah, Mark and Dan and I still sat here for 2.5 hours. Bullshit.
Yeah, we did. We were like, wait, we just sat here and talked for longer than we normally do on the show.
Right?
Okay, Paul says he's gonna hire the Cash Me Outside girl to fight Dan.
Shit, you're fucked now, Dan. You're in trouble now.
She's ghetto, brah. She'll hurt you.
Yeah.
Terrified.
She'll scratch your
Okay,
eyeballs.
So here's what I
want to
know, because I'm
those fucking nails.
I'll just hire my buddies in the Irish Republican Army. Bring them out of retirement.
This fight's like Syria now. There's like 2 proxy armies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Mark?
It's like most of the wars that the U.S. was in the 20th century.
Exactly.
So speaking of things that are fucked up in the popular media today, I don't really know. I just saw the memes of it. But what the fuck's up with this Dove soap commercial?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just saw it tonight.
I've heard nothing.
There's a black girl that's like taking her shirt off in 2 frames of it, and then the next frames are this white girl pulling the shirt off over her head, and there's like Dove soap in each one of the pictures. Is that an actual commercial or?
I don't know, but
just
that would be
a meme.
Send me the link.
Send
me the link for.
Paul Gordon's posted it like 16 times.
Yeah. What's it? Paul says he memed the crazy out of that. What was the commercial about, Paul? What's the controversy?
Well, I can see what the controversy is.
Right. Like, okay, so I guess they had a black model and with a brown shirt on. And then from what I can gather, she was taking the shirt off. And when it all came off, it was a white girl in a white shirt. So like brown is dirty and white is clean.
And Dove will make you clean.
Dylan says Dove, it will wash the black away.
Right.
I think that's what they were insinuating.
That's fucked up.
It's like
I really do.
This is the new white Skittles.
Yeah, right.
White Skittles.
Unbelievable.
We still have those. We have those.
I was just gonna bring those. I was just gonna say good analogy, Derek, from the girl that bought the white Skittles.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
I didn't know you could buy white Skittles. Is that because you don't like the colored ones?
No. It was a one-time thing. It was supposed to be
a unifying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was supposed to be about like diversity, how we're all the same and we shouldn't see colors. But
so
they
we're
went
all white.
I got some half and half if y'all bitches want to taste the rainbow.
It was a limited run. They did like a limited run of these. So we bought like 2 or 3 bags of them. And we ate one, and the other 2, I think, are in storage.
Fucking racist.
So,
interesting.
it was awesome.
What are you waiting for the next fucking next slave trade fucking market to open up?
No, I just thought it was really funny. Like
she's gonna send them to Cantwell in jail for currency.
I find these like advertising gaps. You know, these like tone deaf advertising blunders are fucking hilarious, man. I love it. And you know what?
Hell yeah, you need to start a museum of them, Derica.
I know.
That would be awesome.
I do use Dove soap because I have really dry skin. So, yeah, I've got the white Skittles and I've got the Dove soap.
I just use Dove soap because of the racist commercials.
White Skittles.
That's just me.
White Russians.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I'm
White
starting
soap.
to see a trend here.
Yeah, it's all right, Jack.
Yeah.
And a
You got
German
some
last name.
Yeah, you got some fucking questions to answer,
That's
buddy.
right. I do what I want. I ain't hurting anybody. It's not anybody's business.
She's like, Dove.
You hear that, America?
The final
I do what
solution.
I want.
Oh my God, Paul, that's a good one. Paul just messaged me that one. Let's see.
Speak.
Hold on. It says, "Wow, Dove soap. I did not see that coming."
Yeah.
That's a good one, Paul. That's a good one.
Go back to sleep, Dad. Lame ass jokes.
He's in your time zone.
I'll be right back.
Oh, welcome back. Weird.
What?
I don't know. My phone's going apeshit here and just like playing.
Did I just hear the word vaginas?
No, you heard the word vagine.
Vagine. That's right.
Send vagine.
Man, that Show Bob song is fucking.
Oh, that.
Oh my God! I watched that like
that
4
so
times in a row. Holy shit!
Oh.
Holy shit! That's hilarious.
Paul says that Dan went
You
to
saw
get
that
ready.
one, right?
Dan went to get ready for the Cash Me Outside fight.
That's right.
That's right.
My money's on the Cash Me Outside.
Yeah. I don't know. She's vicious. She's like a fucking mean little honey badger.
She is not a honey badger. Not even kind of.
She'd like to think she is.
Right. She's a wannabe honey badger.
Yeah,
because honey badger really don't give a fuck.
Here you guys go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She really does. Right. Send Bob.
Yep.
Send Bob's.
Send Bob's. I went to kiss your panty. Oh my God, that song. It's still running through my head. I fucking love that song. You saw that, right, Jason?
Paul said that he started watching the song with his daughter nearby. His daughter's 12.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Uh-oh, Paul.
Oh, that's great stuff. That goes in the Meme Court soundtrack.
That is like the official soundtrack of Meme Court.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple songs. You know, there's Quack Like a Duck and Miss My Nigga and what? There's a couple others I can't think of right now. So.
Yep.
All right. What's our first topic of conversation, Jason?
I thought we were all through them.
I don't.
Quick, somebody pull up the description.
Well, no, I have a bunch listed, or I have a bunch saved, but.
Oh, I've got one. Can I start off?
Sure, start off, Mark.
What do we think?
No, it doesn't matter.
None of this matters. No. I'm going to go on one of Mark's monologues here and tell everybody what really chaps my ass.
All right.
You what grinds my gears.
You do that. And then Paul says we got to do the escaped cows one.
Yeah.
Oh, that was from last week or 2 weeks ago. The one that I posted on your wall?
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up at the last show, but we didn't get to it because I wasn't on it.
Yeah.
Nobody was.
I wish we could bring
Yes, Dylan, we are a half hour in and we are just now getting to the first topic.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of.
And you're still watching. You're still watching, Dylan.
Uh-huh.
So what does that say?
It's because he's a Lions fan and his Lions suck. So
and he's used to clinging on for the hope of a win. Woo!
Bastards.
He has optimism in the face of certain defeat.
It's Antifa Dan.
Yeah, it's American Antifa.
American.
That is awesome.
I'm a nationalist globalist, like Trump said.
A nationalist globalist. Yeah.
Dan, you're like an Anarchy Among Friends character actor. You know, you're like you're Rear Admiral Dan and all these other things.
So
but
it kind
hey,
of looks like the Anarchy Among Friends Unabomber.
He does.
I'm character fluid.
I had a thought from a minute ago, and I'm just now getting around to voicing it because
What's that?
Weed or whatever. So we have the Dan's Inner Monologue meme series, and now we have to have a Mark meme series of what really chaps Mark's ass.
There we go. Nice.
Yeah.
I think
like Peter Griffin's like what grinds my gears.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Jason,
what chaps Mark's ass.
You have a mission. You've been charged with another task.
Sure, why not? I could squeeze in more meme making.
Now what? Now what are we doing for what? What are we doing for Jason then?
You guys are not doing anything for Jason.
Well, we're gonna have to meme Jason here eventually.
No,
we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Dan's Inner Monologue.
Actually, I think Jason may have been the first of the Anarchy Among Friends memes way back when he became your anarcho daddy.
Oh yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think that was what kicked it off because I think somebody threw one out.
Yeah. Well, and then we had that Anthem Island picture.
Oh, right.
That's always
that was that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Gilligan's Island and shit.
That was a good one.
It was. All right. Okay.
Paul
Dylan.
Paul says his anarcho daddy is Lufine.
Oh.
I'm gonna.
That's
I'm
gonna
say
that's a good one to have. That's a good anarcho daddy to have, minus the fried bacon thing.
Speaking of lube, can we talk about can we talk since we're on the topic of lube? Can we talk about the U.S. Postal Service for a minute? Seriously,
yes.
I sent Lou 3 bottles of vanilla coffee syrup. Okay, his address in Michigan clearly marked, and the post office verified the address because they do that when you're sending priority mail.
Yep.
And everything. It never gets there. It never gets there. Like 2 weeks later, he gets a letter from the post office in Grand Rapids, like 8 hours from where Lou lives, telling him, you have to come pick up this package. It went to Alaska, and now it's back, and it's broken to pieces, and it's leaking everywhere, and we won't send it to you. I'm like, what? And they won't send it back to me, and I can't file the insurance claim for the lost product because I had to send Lou more, so I can't file the insurance claim for that if I don't have the empty package.
It's fucked up, dude.
The post office here tells me that, and the post office there is like, no, we won't fucking send it back.
Like, how inefficient is that? Like, from Virginia to Michigan, and it goes to Alaska.
Well, I think that was an accident. That's what I'm saying. They're fuck ups.
No, it wasn't an accident.
Yeah. So, anyways, they're fuck ups, and they owe me $30 because that's how much that product was worth.
Yeah, and then they're gonna tax you on it, and there's gonna be a fee. And you're gonna get
nope,
37.
They don't tax me on shit.
And
then
baby.
Then you're gonna get $350 back.
Yeah.
Which happens to be just enough money to buy a ticket to the Dan Cash Me Outside girl fight.
Yeah, that's not even enough money to send another box.
It's gonna be like one of those like the old school like Mike Tyson fights and shit when you pay like fucking $40. Yeah, you pay like $40 for a fucking like Mike Tyson fight, and the shit would last like literally 15 seconds.
Well, Dan, you're
up. It'd be like 3 hits.
You would know up in your area because I know that there's like a circuit up there for this, but like it'd be like the local wrestling leagues, Like Kevin remembers seeing some big names back when they were just touring the little like local, wrestling arenas, and there'd be like 3 rows of fucking folding chairs around the ring and shit.
Oh, totally.
He saw some big names back then.
Okay. Paul says that if she takes you, Dan, that if she bids you, Paul gets all your memes.
You're not in his meme will, Paul.
Niggas straight dreaming. So, on a more realistic subject matter, the Hacksaw Jim Duggan was actually my buddy's. What was it? He's from Kingston, New York, and it was my buddy's. I think uncle, or like uncle-in-law, or whatever the fuck. Anyway, there's quite a few wrestlers like from around this area, and that's like, you know, wrestling is one of those things that's like far more real than Paul's illusions or delusions of grandeur, should I say?
It's more real than words. Words are a spook.
Yeah,
more than words.
Well, yeah.
Great song, great band. Extreme, you're missed.
No, nobody sing. Nobody start singing.
No.
That's enough of that shit. Whoever just did that.
All right.
Yeah, it was the dog. The dogs were crying in the fucking background.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
In my life.
go ahead, Dan.
Oh no, I was just recommending for somebody in my life.
Oh.
So.
He's just cracking wise. Ignore him.
I was just gonna say, speaking of wrestling, you guys remember the video of the nurse in Utah being roughed up by the cop?
Mm-hmm.
The head of the Salt Lake Police Association has watched the country's outrage over the video showing the nurse getting arrested and refusing to draw a man's blood without a warrant. Union head Stephen Hurley sent a letter to the city's mayor and police chief to complain that the video of the brief arrest of nurse Alexis Webbles has made, quote, pariahs of Detective Jeff Payne and his watch commander at the time of the incident.
Whoa,
so the head of the
I think we just had an earthquake here.
I didn't feel anything.
Tremors. Shit's falling over.
All right, go ahead.
So pariah police, yes.
Yeah, so the head of the police union, there is complaining that the public got to see the video of the arrest.
Oh,
right.
The terror.
And people wonder how order will come from anarchy. This is how voluntary disassociation of people who behave badly according to social norms.
That's fucking madness. People being held accountable? What?
Not even held accountable, just fucking ostracized for being dickheads.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect that they're being ostracized because they were dickheads. So,
word the fuck up.
But they're crying about it now, I guess, right, Jason?
Yes, they're upset that the release of the video supposedly violated an agreement, not like a law or a statute or anything. It supposedly violated an agreement between the police and the hospital. Yeah, so because the hospital has the cops' backs and videos, things like that. This is not uncommon. My ex-mother-in-law was a X-ray tech, and I saw her get out of several tickets by simply showing her X-ray tech ID card from the hospital. Like doing 70 and a 35 with me in the truck. And she pulls it out, pulls out her ID and her driver's license. And the cop looks at her driver's license, looks at her X-ray tech ID and goes, okay, slow down. Have a nice day.
Huh.
Yeah.
There is a huge collusion between police and hospitals.
Okay. But here's what's interesting about that in this situation. The cops say, "Oh, it violates our little back scratching agreement." Or what do you call arresting one of them for doing their fucking job? Isn't that violating your fucking back scratching agreement?
Yep.
Jesus.
Blue line.
But it's all right if they do it, just as in everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if they do it.
Yep.
See, now you're starting to get it.
Starting.
They don't want their shit out there.
We just need to vote the right people in, and we'll be okay.
That's right.
Yep. Vote Dan Hoarder 2018. Vote Hoarder, not harder.
Well, see, this is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna have all the ballot boxes set up in fucking Walmart parking lots, so that way, fucking, I really don't have to worry about what's his name being a threat. He'll have his hands tied up.
God.
He'll be buying all the paper towels.
Oh my God.
Yep. I'm telling you guys, a meme-based economy, it can happen.
You know what you need to do, Dan? Just like the old-timey politicians, is pass out miniatures of fucking Fireball.
Hell yeah, dude. Be like,
at
this
the ballot
country
box.
isn't going right. You should probably do cocaine about it.
That's right.
But
I'm telling you, you can't go wrong.
Quitters never win.
You can't go wrong with titties and beer. All right, titties and beer is a winning combination. Always.
Well,
that's true.
My dad, he fucking, back in the day when we used to joke around about, political platforms and free beer for everyone was like, he's like, how the fuck are you going to lose on that kind of platform?
Right.
I'm like,
right. Because, free ponies for everyone. Not everybody wants a pony.
Exactly.
Some people live in apartments. Yeah.
Hey, a pony-based economy like Roman Supreme wanted is on par, in my opinion, with the meme-based economy. The only difference between the two is the pony-based economy creates shovel-ready jobs.
Yeah, but there's no versatility in a pony-based economy. You know what I mean? Whereas in memes, it's like
that's true. That's true.
Plethora.
Would all ponies be worth the same, or would they have ponies of different sizes? And can we have a pocket pony worth a penny, or
or maybe the pocket pennies are worth more because they're rare.
That's true.
That's
and they'll fit in your pocket.
Yeah, just because something's smaller doesn't mean it's worth.
Hey, here we go. Here we go.
Check your white privilege, girl.
Hey, I was showing you my privilege right here. This is what I was talking about. It can be small and still valuable. You guys made it dirty like you always do. Have to make everything dirty.
Us make things dirty? No.
About your privilege? No.
Yeah. Whatever, you guys. Don't act all fucking innocent.
Hey, I ain't acting shit. I'm just glad I never had to.
There's nothing but innocence right here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Look at that sweet cherub face.
That's right.
Who could just trust that?
Used cars, whatever.
Oh,
best used car ever. Bridges. I'm in the bridge business too.
I hear he's got a great deal on oceanfront property in Arizona too.
That's right.
Well, yeah, he's the one that sold Sarah Palin that bridge to nowhere in Alaska.
Bridge to nowhere.
No.
Along with the Devil's Lettuce. That's what made her able to see fucking Russia from her front fucking porch. But that's besides the point.
That was she was facing the wrong way. That was Canada.
It's so funny how everybody actually thinks she said that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just because Tina Fey did it on fucking, what was it, Saturday Night Live? Yep. And that's where most people get their political news. For real, Mark, what is going on?
Mark's
beating off the fucking Hyente and shit.
Mark's having a little mini rave or something.
That's right. I was watching
it. Notice how the guilty parties, the fucking volume goes down gradually.
No, I was watching a video about a pint of vagina beer.
Whoa!
Apparently, you can get beer now made with vaginas.
Huh.
Oh,
made using vaginas.
From, yeah.
Apparently,
well,
makes a good beer.
I'm sure if you go to
ferment anything with yeast, and you can get yeast. That's one
anything with sugars in it.
And the funny thing is that if you go to a safe space, you can get fucking more than a fucking pint of a vagina beer.
Oh.
They put that shit in kegs.
You go to a safe space. For real. One of those safe spaces Jason was talking about. That's where you can get barrels of vagina tears.
Yeah, for real.
They used to be very rare,
vagina
but nowadays. Yeah. They're all a bunch of fucking pussies. So,
I'm kind of a pussy.
Listen to me. I'm such a traitor to my gender.
You're so salty.
I thought they called that what's the term for that
all those flavors and you have to be salty.
I thought that was you called girls like that. I thought you called them squirters. But vagina tears?
No, like I'm talking about the big
open the floodgates.
I'm talking about the big diaper babies crying in safe spaces on college campuses because they're fucking pussies.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Oh,
well,
Dan,
see, I don't know.
Share back on Facebook. I have so many memes to send you.
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Send him now. He'll get them when he gets back.
I'll send out the testes one too.
And that will be on the Daniel James account.
Yes, that will be.
Not Hodor.
Yeah, because Dan Hodor's fucking like 23 days to go.
Dan Hodor is a bad person.
Yeah,
he's a bad influence.
He made people cry. Yes, Dylan. Derica has a vagina.
Thanks, Dylan. I appreciate that.
Paul Gordon says no. Well, not on her. Yeah, well, we know somebody's not getting any more candy, Paul.
That's right.
Seriously.
There goes all the peanut brittle. I'll throw it right in the trash.
I was
peanut brittle, all the things.
Actually, the cashew. It's cashew brittle. The cashew brittle was his favorite.
Oh, I bet.
Ooh, you should rename that. You should rename that the cashew outside girl. Cashew outside brittle.
Cash me outside brittle.
I was just gonna do the fucking Uncle Joey move from fucking pull it out, cut it out. Yeah.
You're cutting out. You sound like a robot.
With a scissor fucking sister kind of reference there.
Scissor sister.
Hey.
Oh.
I see that piqued interest.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. My man.
Calling you a girl.
So yeah, we were gonna. I had brought up to Jason about to get on a real subject here for a minute. Sorry to stray, but yeah.
Oh, well, you know.
But we were talking about Venezuela possibly being the first economy in the world to switch over to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that would kind of go hand in hand with the
that's only because they happen to be the one collapsing at the time Bitcoin starts gaining steam.
But at the same time, you got to figure the globalists, quote unquote, or the flat eartherists, whatever camp you decide to be from. They
don't decide to be from either.
Yeah. So they they've been trying to sell the whole idea of a cashless society. So it's like, why not use Venezuela as kind of like a lab experiment? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand
if they were. I mean, if they were going to go to a cashless society, a cashless existence, the globalist, as you mentioned. If they were trying to implement a cashless society where everybody uses, fake money or whatever, they're not going to use Bitcoin because Bitcoin has a fixed amount.
Yeah.
All right. So they would just create a fiat currency.
Yeah. It is rather suspicious that they bought not a lot, but like that they've started investing in cryptocurrency. Like who is it? I want to say JP Morgan Chase and
JP
people
Morgan.
of those ilk.
Rockefeller Investing also.
Yeah. And they had the cover of the I think it was the most recent Economist magazine, which is like the Rothschild syndicated publication, whatever. But they had it was like the global currency on the cover of it. It was like supposed to be like a cryptocurrency with like the phoenix rising from the ashes. I was like, that's rather interesting.
Whoever invented Bitcoin, whether it was Satoshi, whatever, or I mean, he's dead, isn't he? Right?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Well, he's probably rolling over in his fucking grave at those assholes investing in his fucking cryptocurrency, because they're the exact ones he meant for it to circumvent.
Kind of. No, well, yeah, but here's the thing of that. So why aren't people just making new current cryptocurrencies? Well, I mean, they are.
That's the nice thing about it.
They are, but
they are.
The point is they're not catching on, and they're going to get squashed because the big guys have all caught on to Bitcoin. And will just leverage Bitcoin to the point where any of the smaller currencies just get squashed out.
Well, that's the great thing about cryptocurrencies and fiat currencies at all, is that they are because they are all fiat. They are realistically only worth what somebody believes that they are, right? Or what somebody is willing to pay for them, right?
Yep.
And if I hold Ethereum and JP Morgan Chase holds 200,000 Bitcoin, and they want to trade 200,000 Bitcoin for my one piece of Ethereum, if I value Ethereum more than Bitcoin, it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin they have.
Right. But I'm saying, like, in public widespread usage, they're gonna not the actual value or the perceived value.
Right.
Public widespread usage is not in Bitcoin's
or
favor.
Opinion. Right.
But with cryptocurrencies, widespread usage. Let's say that the whole world had switched over to cryptocurrencies of one kind or another.
Yep.
The thing is, widespread public usage with something like cryptocurrency, that can change in 24 hours. What people are using.
If you can get it.
Yeah, not only that, but it also allows for competition in the market. You know what I mean? Whereas before, you're on a fixed amount of different currencies, whatever, or monetary denominations, whatever, and it's all centralized. It's all based within. Yeah, what's going on there?
That was Mark.
But anyway, it's all within a centralized structural basis, of central banking or whatever. Whereas cryptocurrency, it's all decentralized.
Yeah. Right. Which is the beauty of cryptocurrencies. That there's not
exactly
right. And even if these big power players in the financial industries now, holy shit, dude. Even if these big, huge, like powerhouse financial players now take over one of the currencies, everybody else can just fucking bail on it and go to a different one.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It only, like I said, it only has value if you value it, if you believe it has value.
Right.
And
what it's the way that people can stay out from under the thumb of these huge bankers.
I mean, they're not memes, for Christ's sakes.
I value memes.
So do I.
I probably value memes more than I do money. I mean,
I value memes over Bitcoin for sure.
But I mean, you need money to get by, so it's like realistically.
Yeah.
I only value money because I'm like forced to.
And you don't even need. I mean, if we're talking first principles here, you don't need like what we recognize as, the government issued money today. You just need small portable trade units that you can trade with other people who similarly value them.
Like
that's all
seashells
currency
and
is.
memes.
Right.
And cat
Goddamn
pictures.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean.
Well, nudes are far superior to memes, but
these.
True.
But
true.
my point is, like these commies are always
but they're
talking
giving
about.
that shit away for free. Just saying.
But my point was, all these commies are always talking about a cashless society. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, then how do you trade? Oh, I have one cow, so, or I have a car, and you want this car, so you work for me for a year, and then you can have the car. Like, how do you fucking trade? Are you going to give somebody 4,000 bales of hay?
Yeah, give me the keys. I'm going to start the helicopter up.
No, but this is what the fucking commies want. And they don't understand that all currency and cash is a way to assign value to your goods and services that's easily portable and easily tradable because it's at least somewhat uniform. And people, there's like a universally understood, value attached to it. So
yeah, I mean, it's easier than giving you 5 bales of hay, or a stack of fucking dick pics. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
Especially since I don't need hay and I don't want dick pics.
Unless you're looking for either
Lies
one.
on the ladder.
Dylan said that nude memes are like $100 bills.
Well, they're rare.
You got a point.
They're like $2 bills because they're rare. Because they keep getting zucked.
I think somebody's like
speaking
a
$3
bill.
Bills. Dude, speaking of $2 bills, the one fucking strip club, like not that far from where I live, they always when you ask for change, they give you $2 bills.
Huh.
There's a strip club in Vegas that's now taking crypto.
Nice.
Yeah, you can buy.
Can you tip that way?
I believe so.
Bitch, I'm gonna make it rain on you in fucking invisible digital currency.
Zeros.
It'll be like standing
1 0
in the
0
Matrix.
0 1.
Do they have like a
code will just cascade over you?
You have to throw your little Bitcoin tip cards at them.
QR code. Get a QR code tattooed on your ass, girlfriend.
There you go.
I just blew a serious load in my pocket protector.
Crypto for the win.
Hey.
The vending machine inside sells asthma inhalers. Pocket protectors, asthma inhalers, and magic cards.
Declan just got into Kevin's magic cards today.
Oh, really?
Nice.
So we have them sitting out. I can feel my house getting nerdier by the minute.
That's awesome.
Hey, nerds are the new sexy.
And she's like, she's like, I can feel my house getting nerdier by the second as she fucking crochets a fucking blanket.
This isn't nerdy, dick. This is domestic.
I love it. She's like, this is a nerdy dick.
Yeah, she's got to do something in between sandwiches.
I'm going to crochet an Afghan for Dan that says, fuck you.
I totally want some of those naughty needlepoint things.
Now, would it be ironic if you...
Or cross stitch or whatever the fuck it is. I want the one with the cat with its middle fingers up saying I do what I want.
Yeah.
Nice.
Paul Gordon says nerds are people too, not really. Sandwiches and brittle, baby.
Oh,
no, nerds are people too. They're not like juggalos, for Christ's sakes.
Mark said jugs.
Hey.
Hey.
But
jugs are much preferable to juggalos.
Dude, seriously, we've talked about one
people.
story.
Yeah.
How long have we been on the air?
About an hour.
And we talked about one story.
Fantastic
tonight.
I'm telling. Hey,
killing it.
Jugs are also acceptable currency under the Hodor administration. Vote Hodor, not
true.
Hodor.
Yeah. All right, next story.
Under the Tits and Ass Act of 2018.
The tats. Just call it the tats.
2020 is the next election.
2018, 2020.
Well, we're going back in time.
Time is flexible.
We're already YouTube time.
Time is an imaginary construct.
Hey, YouTube, we're 2 minutes
time
in the
is
future.
flexible, like the future first lady, or something like that.
Oh my god, dude! All right, next story.
You're gonna have ski mask
Moving
Johnny as your first lady.
All right, okay. Since we're on the subject of big pussies.
Oh, you just called Ski Mask Johnny a big pussy? That's
no, I love Johnny.
No, he didn't, but I did.
Phoenix man who turned guns over to police gets death threats. You guys saw the post, right, about that guy?
Yeah, I didn't know why. You know why that's bullshit? Because he did not.
Indeed.
He did not turn his guns over. He turned over some fucking
a 22 and a 380.
Like a 1022 with a bunch of fucking cheap ass Chinese Tapco stock accessories on it.
Who in the fuck puts a vertical grip on a 1022?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Unless it's one of those 1022 Gatling guns, those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, a Walther Arms PK 380 and a Ruger 1022 tactical rifle.
Tactical rifle.
Yeah.
Tactical assault rifle. Get it right.
Terrifying.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it's terrifying. All right, so I heard that guy.
Strangely enough, though, 22 caliber bullets kill more people than any other round.
22?
22 caliber bullets. I mean, usually 223s and all the.
Well, because when it enters, it fucking bounces around and does mad damage.
Yeah.
Yes, Paul. The other one was a 380.
I like points.
A Walther Arms PK 380. But 22, ignoring 22. So the guy,
not to be confused with a P7 squeeze cocker.
All right, so he's getting death threats.
Yeah, people were posting his address and his phone number.
Over what?
What a queer.
All he did was
because he's such a snowflake. He's a betrayer. we have to fire up the helicopters. We got another one.
Oh, damn right.
Dude, now, oh my god, he has every right to be a fucking idiot.
He has every right to be an idiot, and I have every right to tell him that he is an idiot.
Yep.
Yeah.
People like that, you don't even throw them out of the helicopter. You just throw them you just heave them straight up and hope that they hit the fucking propeller.
Jesus. What?
He got so many. I'm kidding. Yes, Paul. He has a giant cuck. The guy got so many threats, and people were posting his address and his phone numbers and whatnot, that he actually deleted the post on Facebook.
Jeez.
Right. So.
Yeah, because
I bet you it was Paul under 10 different accounts.
I mean,
harassing the shit out of him.
How stupid really do you have to be to advertise the fact that you are now disarmed?
Right?
Yeah. Right? Like
yeah, like I was saying to you, dude.
He supposedly did, like, he did it because, quote, you know, he has a wife and kid, right? Like that was his rationing for turning in firearms.
You know what, motherfucker? I got a husband and kids, and I still got more guns than I'm going to admit to
allegedly.
Here. Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. The ones that you didn't lose in the boating accident.
That's exactly right. The rest are on the bottom of the Potomac River. Sorry.
Yeah, Paul. That
good old Uncle George would be proud.
Right.
Yeah, so I just had to bring up that dumbass and make fun of him because he is a dumbass, and I like making fun of dumbasses.
Hey,
still, but like I don't
story.
understand. I don't understand. I don't get what drives like the death threat thing. Like I've never understood it. Why would you fucking because you think somebody's an idiot, you're gonna threaten to kill them? What the hell is wrong?
Yeah.
With you. Oh my god.
Because I did look through the thread 2 or 3 days ago just because I wanted to see it. Like I saw an article about it, but I wanted to see the actual post, so I went and looked. And a lot of the threats were like calling him a traitor, and telling him how people are going to use him as an example for passing gun control and how we should be more like him, and like, it's just it was all retarded. Like there was no logical arguments being made, right? It was entirely snowflaking.
So wait,
just emotional fucking emotional diarrhea all over the thread.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. A whole lot of diarrhea. Mental, verbal.
Which is to be expected. But
yeah.
The funny thing is that, like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Paul makes a good point. Paul says the guy was trying to advance a narrative that empowers the state to confiscate guns.
I'm thinking guy was trying to get his 15 minutes of internet fame.
No work.
Yeah. That's more what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the guy was from England also.
Oh, go figure.
I don't know if that plays a huge part of it, but I believe it does.
Well, I kind of think like his thing was like, you know, the equivalent of Ralphie Wiggum's "I'm helping." When you change your profile picture to a flag of whatever
when you
country was attacked by terrorism.
Yeah.
False flags everywhere.
No, I don't believe that people are getting dumber. I believe that they are being exposed more.
To more dumbness?
No. No. Like people have always been dumb, but in today's society where dumbness is almost
access to every moment of everybody's life.
Like that Pink Floyd song, "I have become comfortably dumb."
Pink Floyd is great.
That shit was funny. Come on. Dan laughed.
I laughed.
Dan gets me.
I heard it. I'm feeling too mellow.
She was too busy crocheting her blanket, guys.
I'm taking a break.
I just thought it was dumb.
Yeah. Well, like the title said. I'm sorry.
All right. How about? All right. Speaking of dumb, let's get on with this, you guys. Speaking of dumb.
Okay.
What about me?
Cottonwood man faces criminal charges after cows get out. Cottonwood, California, to Northern California, near Redding. Guy had
cows got out.
Yeah, the cows broke through the fence three times last spring.
It happens. Shit.
I mean, it's Cottonwood is as rural as it gets, right? I mean, there's virtually nothing there but farms.
Cow's gonna cow.
Yeah, he was issued a citation for letting his cows run stray and allowing them to get onto someone else's property.
Ugh, the horror.
Yes.
How he didn't train his cows to stop at his property line.
It says thought the citation was an infraction, like a traffic ticket, and he went to court to pay the fine. But he was surprised to learn that he faced a misdemeanor criminal charge that could result in 6 months to a year in jail.
Those things never result in jail time.
Her husband, he was offered a deal that included pleading guilty in exchange for 2 years probation.
Wow.
Yeah, so he went to court for it last week. I don't have an update on that. But yeah,
can we say gay as fuck?
Can't say that on the air. Oh wait, we're not on the air. Yeah, that shit's gay as fuck.
Yeah, and it's Bill Quinn, the vice president of the Shasta County Cattlemen's Association, said cattle and other livestock getting loose is a common issue in rural areas. But he said criminal charges for stray cattle that trespass are not common. Quote, I haven't heard of it much. It's not been brought to my attention much. In fact, I've never heard of it.
That's a very political answer for the fucking Cattlemen's Association of the county.
Right.
Yes.
You can tell he's aspiring to fucking politics. Cocksucker. Seriously, man. Either that or he fucking gave so much money to the whatever county commissioner or however your fucking government's set up out there.
Yeah, they said that
the fucking compliance officer or whatever bullshit.
Said that each time that the cows got out, they fixed the fence. Like the cows broke through the fence. Like they got the cows back and they fixed the fence. But the cows got out like 3 times, and a neighbor, Manuel Peters, had enough of the cows breaking loose and told an animal control officer who showed up in the neighborhood he wanted to sign a complaint. Peters said the cow got into his yard at least a dozen times and even charged at his dog, which was tethered in the yard. He said the cows didn't damage any property or hurt his dog, though.
But they could have.
Yeah.
They certainly could have, so they should give him the chair.
Huh.
Hang his ass. Hang him out.
Yeah, he says that one time he had to draw a Glock 40 caliber and shoot the ground near the cow to scare it off his property.
Wow. In California, that's a pretty bold move.
Right.
I'm surprised the cow didn't file charges.
Where's PETA? Where's PETA? Why isn't PETA defending this cow?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I mean,
that guy could be running a sanctuary for old cows. It's like a retirement home for Bessie the dairy heifer.
Bessie and Lindsay. Those are the 2 cows.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, aren't farmers in California required to learn how to train cows? I mean, they're supposed to keep them from farting somehow, right? So.
Oh yeah. Well, these are special cows. They're okay. California models. They're CARB compliant models.
they're anarcho cows. They don't care about the law and property rights and all that good stuff. That's what it is.
Right.
They're Hispanic cows. They produce caramel flavored milk.
They were just going onto that other guy's yard to redistribute the grass.
Commie cows.
They're commie cows.
Where's Slinky when you need him to fucking put down some commie cows?
Really, seriously.
Call the cows fags. No. Slinky doesn't even watch our show, damn it.
It's because he's drunk and passed out by now, bro.
What a commie faggot. Oh yeah, it is.
But I've seen that dude. I've seen that dude polish off like quarts of vodka and then milk bulls. So.
In what?
I said I've seen a video of him milking a bull before.
No doubt.
Straight from the tap.
White stuff is white stuff.
The tap.
Yes, sir.
The cream really
Why
rises
this
to the
cow
top.
only got 1 teat?
Yeah. All right. How about I got one more? I got another dumb government one for you guys. And this one, Dylan will have
just one more.
Well, I have a lot, but this one's fantastic, and Dylan will really like it. Michigan mayor offers seized money as a citizen reward for drug snitching.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
The mayor of
1984.
The mayor of Detroit's largest suburb is offering to spread the city's civil asset forfeiture funds around to citizens.
Are they still fighting the drug war?
To citizens who squeal on their neighbors for dealing drugs. Jim Fouts, the mayor of Warren, Michigan, and police commissioner Bill Dyer announced today that a new program where citizens can earn $500 for turning in their neighbors.
$500. Jeez.
Quote, this program means all Warren residents will be the eyes and ears of our war against the drug pushers.
Apparently they're still fighting the war down there.
Dyer said that rewards will come from drug forfeiture funds that the police department uses to fight illegal drugs in the city. Quote, I've never heard of another city doing something like this, he told the Detroit News in a phone interview. Quote, in other words, we're taking funds from drug dealers to pay residents for information about other drug dealers. Taxpayers,
confidential informants being paid with civil asset forfeiture.
Taxpayers are not paying for this.
This doesn't sound familiar, like 1930s Germany or anything.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, if you're listening, drugs are bad, okay?
Exactly. That's why the government teaches you about them in like 5th grade.
All right, now this is the kicker. This is the kicker right here, you guys. Law enforcement agencies in Michigan can potentially keep 100% of what they seize, creating significant financial incentives to accuse citizens of criminal conduct. For those reasons, the property rights protecting analysis of the Institute for Justice graded Michigan a D- for the way it. Police and mayors attempt to sell civil asset forfeiture as a way of funding government by sticking it to drug dealers, but that's not really happens. Last year, Traverse City, Michigan attempted to seize the home of a couple operating a miracle marijuana dispensary without charging them with anything. Yeah, quote, saying taxpayers are not paying for asset forfeiture is simply not true. Law enforcement agencies across the state raked in $244 million between 2001 and 2013 without ever providing these people without proving these people as drug dealers, according to the Institute of Justice.
Fucking pirates.
Jesus
Christ.
Dude.
Yeah, so they are stealing from people without guilty pleas or without finding them guilty to pay people to snitch people out so that they can steal from people without having to prosecute people, so they can pay people to snitch people out so they can steal from people without having to prosecute people.
Right.
Beautiful.
It's all theft anyways, but normally, under normal circumstances, they make an effort to dress it up in, terminology that makes you feel patriotic and good, right?
Yeah. My drug war.
Right. Civil asset forfeiture, they don't even bother with this person broke the law, they deserve it fucking narrative. They just take your shit because they fucking want it. Yep. And there's nothing you can do about it because they'll fucking kill you.
It's guilty until proven innocent.
And the person is responsible.
If you have the means to prove you're innocent.
Right.
Which you don't have because they just fucking took everything.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but when they do a civil asset forfeiture case, it's usually the state versus whatever, it's not like
the property, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the state versus the actual inanimate fucking
exactly
objects that they seized,
which makes it like extremely difficult to fucking fight the case.
Right. They charge the items. They don't charge the person.
Like for example, like this one kid got busted for selling heroin or whatever on his parents' property because he was living with his parents or whatever. He was like 18 or 19 years old. Not saying that I condone it, whatever. That's besides the point. So this kid gets busted, and the kid's parents' house and like all their property gets seized because they
suspected of being involved in his criminal activities.
Yep.
Right. And it didn't even belong to him.
Damn criminals.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean,
but see how that works?
Yeah.
They can take your shit. All they have to do is say that they suspect it was involved in a crime.
Yep.
And then they can take all your shit.
No proof, no charges ever needing to be filed.
Nope. Nope. And they get to keep it forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Crazy, dude.
Forever.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? What was it in 2015? The DEA alone.
2014.
Or 2014. Sorry, 2014. The 2014, 2015, whatever. The DEA alone confiscated more goods and money from people suspected of crimes than burglars did in the entire United States.
Yep. They took more from Americans than the criminals they said they're like trying burgling. To protect us from. Yeah, that's irony, right? They take more from us than the people they claim to be protecting us against ever would, or protecting us from. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey kids, I gotta bounce. I got an early morning tomorrow.
All
right, brother.
So,
all right, brother.
You guys carry on. It's good chatting with y'all. Catch you on the next installment.
You're coming down. You're coming down here sometime soon.
And I am coming down sometime soon, before Christmas. Okay. I guarantee you.
Good. You want to come have Thanksgiving dinner with us?
Oh, it's a possibility. If I don't have the kids.
I make a really good turkey. Like you will die over my turkey.
Oh, I bet. I do love turkey.
Yeah. I brine it for at least 24 hours before.
Right? Yeah. End up in that fucking tryptophan coma and shit on the couch.
Right?
That's right.
Yep. It's so good. I make a really great Thanksgiving dinner, so consider coming down and spending Thanksgiving with us.
So we're all going to Tierkins for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Right. You're all invited. Shit.
So, all right, Marky.
All right, kids. Be good.
Peace.
Have fun.
Bye.
Hi, brother.
Yeah. Seriously, come to Thanksgiving, you guys.
So
like, with the whole thing with the civil asset forfeiture, like I think like the Philadelphia Police Department, like on its own, I think like sees like $40 billion worth of. I think it was like $40 billion worth of. I want to say 40 billion. Anyway, it was like a lot of fucking money though. And more money that they bring in like actual taxation. So it's like, what incentive do they have to like stop their pillaging of the
none.
Regular people?
No, they don't.
There's none.
Like as this article pointed out, in Michigan they get to keep up to 100%.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if
wait, I don't understand how that happens. How does it happen that the people who write the laws get to keep all these things by law? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get
a little bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, no shit.
That's like city councils voting to raise their own pay.
I know. or the people who get to write laws that affect the markets and they're invested in portions of the market. I don't understand how people get so rich working for Congress. They only get, so much for salary every year.
Jesus. If I didn't know any better, I think you were being facetious.
It's totally not insider. It's totally not insider trading. Not at all. No.
Yeah, it's totally not insider trading.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, if you call it by a different name, it's totally not what it is.
Right.
Oh, of course, because they make up the definitions of words.
Exactly.
Right.
They
write the magic words on the magic paper.
Yeah.
And that
one
makes
of these days,
okay.
One of these days, guys, we'll be in charge of making those definitions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be our boots on the throat of America, you guys.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It'll be different this time.
Vote harder, not harder. 2020.
Anarchists can't even agree on what the definition of anarchy is. So I don't think we need to be in charge of definitions.
And just like that, Derica did not get a cabinet position.
Oh.
That bitch.
Whatever. I don't care.
The new White House is Derica's backyard.
I'll just wait till all your crops are dying, and then I'll come put toilet water on them, and you'll make me president.
Because electrolytes, that's what plants crave.
Right.
She'll be like working in the background like Hillary Clinton and shit, just offing people one by one.
Right. Dude, that's like my
we're not supposed to say that. Yeah, right.
Careful, Dan. Don't talk about Hillary. We don't want you to have an accident.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
He killed himself by shooting himself in the back of the head twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that nigga shot himself in the back of the head 5 times and then chopped himself up and put him in a fucking suitcase.
I was just gonna say
nice and neatly.
Chopped himself up. I was just fucking gonna say
that. I love it.
That's just how Gary Webb did it.
God, you guys are my soul tribe. My vibe tribe.
Goddamn right.
Vibe tribe.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, we got like 2 more I want to get you guys, and then.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
This one's a quickie. This one, I just. Woman objects to Confederate flag, gets own permit for Black Lives Matter flag.
What the fuck? There is so much wrong with that headline. I don't even know where to start.
A Fredericksburg, Virginia woman has gotten a permit to erect a Black Lives Matter flag on her property.
Dude, that's 15 minutes from my house. I'm gonna go put light a bag of dog shit on fire on her porch.
Flag, she says, is in opposition to a 30 by 30 foot Confederate flag visible from Interstate 95. Wait. Okay. There have been multiple attempts to get the Confederate flag taken down, but Stafford County ruled earlier this month that it can stay put. The flag is on private property near the Falmouth exit of the interstate.
Falmouth.
Yeah.
I never know how to pronounce that.
Susan Cozier said she now has to raise $20,000 to $25,000 to buy a flag and pole that match the size of the Confederate flag a few miles from her home. The flag has been up since 2014, and some are angry that it is visible from the highway.
South of the Mason-Dixon line. You fucking idiots. You are south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Wait. Okay, quote,
Jesus.
Quote, there was one gentleman who says when he drives by it every day for work, it takes him 10 to 15 minutes to calm down. It really is. It really is very frightening and visceral reaction people have to that flag.
Then he should not be driving on 95. I'm not joking. If you're distracted by your fucking touchy little feelers, don't be driving on 95. You're going to fucking cause an accident. my husband will get caught in that accident on his way to work, and then I'm gonna have to fucking kill you, and just don't.
Right.
Just
Quote,
don't.
The Confederate flag is flying on the property of Hubert Wayne Cash, but was put up by a group called Virginia Flaggers. The group flies flags like this one along the highways across Virginia. Cash said the group paid him $1 for a 100-year lease on his land.
My God.
So they're treating it like a billboard.
And how do these people even notice it? I've been living in Virginia since 2004. I don't even notice Confederate flags anymore. I don't fucking notice them anymore.
How do people notice
scenery?
How do people notice a 30-foot by 30-foot Confederate flag on the side of I-95?
No,
I have no idea.
How do people even fucking notice it? I wouldn't notice it. They're like trees to me now, Confederate flags. I've been living in Virginia since 2004. Like, are these people new to Virginia, or
seriously?
Just asking.
And
dude, my grandfather fucking like lived his whole entire life up north in upstate New York, and fucking always had a Confederate flag on like either his boat or his pickup truck, and it had nothing to do with like him being a racist. It was like most of those guys, the older guys, understood that it was like a battle of like states' rights versus federal, further centralization of the federal government.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan a fan of flags at all.
Yeah, no, me neither.
So I don't care.
I'm saying, like, at least
for.
Dude, Jason, you just said I'm not a fag twice in a row.
I'm not. Calm down, John. Leave me alone.
But I mean, fag or not, like, you know what I mean? At least those guys had like
there goes Slinky. Slinky's not watching anymore.
There goes Slinky's hopes and dreams. Jason's not a fag.
Not a commie either, damn it.
So well, you know what I mean? At least the older generations like had an understanding of what it was about, whether we agree with it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but like,
whereas today, it's like people are just like, oh, it's racist. Like they don't even understand like the basis for what it meant.
Well, of course,
because they've all been told the Civil War was about slavery.
Well, yeah, of course,
and only slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind that the North had slaves during the entire Civil War.
Yeah. Well, not to mention the fact that 1.5% of the entire U.S. colonial population, up until the point of the Civil War, even owned slaves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like 98.5% of the fucking population didn't own slaves, and there was black slave owners, there was white slave owners, there was Indian slave owners, there was like, there were slaves that were Irish, there were Native American slaves, there were black slaves, there, you know what I mean? It was Chinese slaves.
Native Americans had slavery. Native Americans had slavery on this continent.
Yep.
For however long they were fucking here. Before. Yeah, and there's still slavery in Africa. I have no sympathy for people who get triggered over America's history of slavery, because you know what? The rest of the world has a history of slavery too. I read what else? Slavery's still fucking going on in Africa.
But the funny thing is
how Africans ended up in slavery.
The funny thing is, though, is that if you point out the fact that there is, a general consensus all over the fucking world that people enslaved and murdered and, did horrible acts of violence to other cultures and other ethnicities throughout the annals of history. You know what I mean? Like to cherry pick and say that only one group did it.
Yeah. Article came out middle of September. By a what is the group? Walk Free Foundation. They are part of the International Labor Organization, the United Nations, and International Office for Migration. Says there are approximately 40 million slaves right now in the world.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, it's not like the Dutch ran around the African continent with butterfly nets. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Some Africans were sold to the Dutch because they were already slaves from tribal wars. They were POWs that were kept as slaves in the tribal wars, and the chieftains or whatever sold them to the Dutch for presumably, whiskey and boomsticks. I don't fucking know.
Yep.
But
well, there was a lot of different cultures that were involved in slavery, and still are today. I mean, Jewish.
Oh yeah.
Like very extreme.
The Barbary slave trade. Like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Arabs were one of our. Were and still are one of the largest, slave trading groups on the planet, along with some extreme sects of Judaism and some extreme sects of Christianity, like Boko Haram, and
look up blood diamonds. I mean, look at how many slaves are forced to dig diamonds for warlords in Central Africa.
Yeah,
but they'll still put on their bling and complain about Confederate flags.
This is cruelty free. I'm gonna say this is not a blood diamond. Just gonna let y'all know. We checked into that before buying it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so
I do have a conscience occasionally.
Yeah, so but my whole issue with that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it's not that I don't acknowledge the history of the past or things of that nature, but it's just I try and understand it from a more well-rounded point of view as opposed to blame one group.
A wider perspective, because there's a lot of facts that they don't know about or ignore.
Well, that's I think that's one of the things that sets you guys apart from the majority of the people bitching and moaning about things is you guys will actually go to the root of the issue,
things.
Right? Yeah. You guys will break down. You're not just gonna hack at the branch. You're gonna go to the root and say, look, it's not just white people weren't the only people to own slaves, right? I mean, you guys are gonna go all the way back down and be like, look, Africans had them, Native Americans had them, Mexicans had them.
And I don't say that to be racist either. You know what I mean?
No,
it's just
totally not.
Facts.
It's yeah.
Asians have slaves. I mean, it's
Arabs. Yeah.
There's so many Asian cultures that have traded slaves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not like they want to think, because the only slavery they've ever heard of is the slavery in the U.S. is history, because that's the only one they're taught in school.
Yep. Their idea of research is going to an echo chamber.
Right. Exactly. It used to be that people valued being well-read, widely read, because, you would have a more nuanced perspective on things, because, you'd have more information from the wider world than just your tiny little corner of it. People don't value that anymore.
Well, they value clicks and likes on social media.
Yeah.
And acceptance.
And, not everybody always valued being well-read. I understand that, but,
And, I mean, there's ignorant people from, all sides of the spectrum. And that's the sad part. And it's I don't claim to be Mr. Holier than thou, and my perspective on things is correct or anything, but it's I try to be more well-rounded in my outlook on things than people that tend to cherry pick and say, okay, well, if I don't accept the guilt of the past, then I'm I'm a bigot or I'm a racist or whatever, fall into that whole leftist trap of things.
And people like us and people like you guys and our Ann Fam friends and our extended Ann Fam and people like that, the difference between us and a lot of people that you run into on social media and stuff is that we are not satisfied with the answer that makes us feel best.
No.
Yeah.
You know, most people stop at the answer that fits what they want to believe.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah,
right,
no way.
Exactly. And, you know, and they'll stop right there at the one that makes them feel the best about themselves, or they feel like they can get the most advantage out of. And they never dig any deeper. You know, but one thing I think most anarchists that I know have in common is that we are knowledge seekers. I'm not going to comment on whether any of us have the right knowledge or whatever, but I noticed that almost all of us, are constantly trying to move deeper into our understanding.
Rather than love the money than fame, give me truth.
Right. Yep.
And it's one of those things that, like, you know, you don't, you're not looking to, you know, be right in terms of, like, you know, because I see this a lot in terms of, like, debate. People argue their point and their point alone, and it's like, well, if you don't agree with me, then I can't be friends with you. And, you know, and it's like Thomas Jefferson even said that himself, that he's like, you know, like, I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be right of me essentially to, like, close myself off to people that don't share the same point of view that I do, because then, you know, like we always say, you're going to create an echo chamber, and you're only going to hear, you know, what you want to hear. And it's like a cherry pick, you know, version of, you know, what reinforces your outlook on things. And that's not healthy. You know what I mean? And, like, I've always been that way in terms of, like you guys said, seeking the truth. And, like, I'll read things that I don't agree with, and I'll read things that, like, you know, I'm like, I fucking hate this dude. Like, for example, like, I always use the fucking Communist Manifesto for fucking, you know,
I've read some Marx,
a point of reference. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's probably the thing I disagree with the most, but yet I've read it, because it's like, I don't want to be completely ignorant of it and just spout off and be like, oh, well, I don't agree with this because it's, you know, doesn't fit my outlook on things.
Yeah, it's the mark of an educated man to be able to entertain an idea without accepting it, right? And I think that's Socrates. I don't remember exactly, but if you don't have the full picture on something, then you cannot claim to have an educated opinion.
Exactly.
Right? If you're looking at something from only this direction, right? From only point A. If you're only looking at point A from one direction, then you can't see the other arguments that are going to be made about point A.
All right. And if you haven't analyzed both sides of an argument, you can't claim to really understand any of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You can't. Without all the information, or without
as much information as possible.
Without as much information as possible, and mulling it around in your own mind yourself, and coming to your own individual conclusion on something. If you don't do that, then all you really are is parroting.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where,
and there ain't no parrots on Anarchy Island.
Oh, no.
But, you know, it's like, you can't form a solid counter argument to something that you've never actually studied yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, you can, you know, claim to be like, oh, well, I don't agree with this because it's, you know, contrary to my capitalist outlook, or whatever, you know, whatever your position is, you know. And it's like, that's the only reason why you're against it. Like, you've never actually, you know, studied it and said, okay, well, here's the reason why I don't believe that this would work out, or that.
Right. And what's really cool? Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, it's okay.
What's really cool is there have been things that I absolutely disagreed with, and I knew I could disprove them, or I knew I could find the argument that meant, you know, that they were a bad idea. So I went and looked at them. I looked at what it was. I studied it. I really thought about it. And I fucking changed my mind because I was wrong before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When I really looked into these things, Anarchy is one of them. Jason remembers when I was on Wolf and I was asking questions and I just didn't fucking get it. And, you know, and I just was like, man, I've got to stump this guy in a debate. I just fucking have to. So
it might have happened. It might have happened once or twice, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but I mean that was like my motivation for, you know, because I wanted to argue against it. I studied it and I thought about it, and my own study and my own, you know, critical thinking changed my fucking mind because I was wrong before.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, the confirmation bias. If you only research, or if you only discuss, or if you only think about something to the point to confirm your own bias, then you're doing a disservice to yourself. If you don't break things down all the way to the first principle, if you don't break things down to the root, then, like, you know, you're in the branches still, right? You're not at the moral or logical conclusion of the subject.
Right.
So, yeah.
I did hear all of that.
Yeah. So
definitely was paging me.
Okay, I got one more story, guys, and this one, like, I love and hate this story so much. In the end, it becomes a good story, but all right. So, how a heartbroken doomsday prepper who lost everything is now saving hurricane victims. I think I sent this article to you, Dan, and I put it up on Wolf, a couple other places, but
I think you put it in Telegram.
I posted on my personal page too, my personal wall. So this is from Medford Township in New Jersey. You probably wouldn't expect to find a doomsday prepper's compound at the end of a nice cul-de-sac off Tuckerton Road, otherwise lined with large houses with pools. But that's where Joseph Badame, 74, has spent most of his life, building and outfitting his home and outbuildings for the day when he believes an economic collapse will make it an all necessary for survival. If you're picturing a reclusive wild man wearing camouflage, think again. All right, Badame is an educated, intelligent, mild-mannered architect who was involved in his church, among other things. Until the death of his beloved wife, Phyllis, in 2013, the passion for prepping was something they shared. The shelter he built and his accumulation of supplies, enough so that 100 people could live there, was Badame's life work. The couple built the place with its subterranean living area and lead-lined bomb shelter, along with outbuildings, for 40 years. For 40 years, they filled them with everything they'd need, from coal furnaces and kerosene and refrigerators to barrels with food and other supplies. But
that's like Blast from the Past. You guys remember that movie?
Yeah, but he's losing it all after the bank foreclosed on his property. Quote, "I'm losing my house," he said, looking at the building from his driveway Monday. "It's a blow to a man who's still heartbroken from losing his wife. There will never be a survival dwelling for Phyllis or I." But he admits his passion for creating the perfect shelter has diminished since his wife's death, and there are few family members and friends left to worry about saving. Quote, "I describe myself as a spirit in search of a purpose." Remarkably, he found what he was looking for before the estate sale this past weekend when he met Victoria Martinez Barber, 30. Since she and her husband, Anthony Barber, were hired to provide food at the estate sale through Tony and Tori's Grill, the food truck they run. Martinez Barber told Badame that all the money from the food truck was going to help his family in Puerto Rico. They were alive, but homeless and hungry, thanks to Hurricane Maria. He donated $100. Then he showed her his food storage room. Quote, I saw everything that my family would need or eat, she said with an emotion, gesturing to a stack of cans and boxes of Vienna sausages that Badame was using as a seat Monday. Badame decided that instead of selling the food at the sale, he would give them all to his new acquaintances to ship to Puerto Rico. It will feed people who desperately need it, even if it's not the people it was originally intended. Quote, I lost everything. I lost everything. My wife, my house, everything, he said. The last thing I was going to lose is the food. It was going to be trashed. Okay, finding his purpose in getting the food and supplies to Puerto Rico has lifted his spirits. But on top of that, he also found a kind of adopted family. He moved the RV he's living in into the yard of Barber and Martinez Barber. Quote, we joke he's my new dad, Barber said, grinning at Badame from the seat on his pile of sandbags in her driveway. Her father died, and Badame had never had any children, so the accidental death but instant connection seems meant to be.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? So it's like a terrible, heartbreaking story, but it turns out okay.
Right?
That's good. So, and there's some religions or even just philosophies that would say that's what he was prepping for this whole time. He didn't know it, but it was meant to turn out that way. That's why he was driven to do all that all those years. There's, I don't know, some people would find comfort in that kind of
absolutely. A lot of people would chalk that up to fate, to cause and effect or to.
I think in a way it's like kind of serendipitously like beautiful.
It is a tragic but an incredible story that turned out very well.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost his wife. I'm sure he was alone and all that good stuff. And he found family through his prepping, through his
wife and him had done together.
Yeah. And he had no kids, and now he has adopted family, and I think that's absolutely fantastic.
It's
awesome.
Oh,
what a great story!
Yeah, it's
we can do fluff pieces too, just like the news.
I was gonna say for once we actually have a good story on Anarchy Among Friends.
Right.
But no,
I don't have as much to say about it as I do about the negative one.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, because it's kind of like you're like, oh, damn, like that's pretty awesome.
There's nothing to bitch about, like other than the house being foreclosed.
It doesn't chap my ass.
Yeah.
It doesn't chap my ass.
Yeah, I mean that does suck that the house is getting foreclosed on and whatnot, but at the same time, it's like it's a prime example of voluntarism at work.
Right, and things working out there. I mean, I've always been one who feels like, regardless of whether you want to call it religion or if you want to call it fate, whatever you want to call it, I've always found that it seems like life has a certain rhythm to it. And if you just refrain from fucking with it and just let it work itself out, things tend to fucking work out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I completely agree.
Yep.
And that's probably, I don't know, maybe that's why I'm an anarchist now, because I've always felt that way. Just chill.
Yeah.
Let it write it out, and shit will fucking work out probably better than it was before.
The couple was married for 45 years. Phyllis was 16 years older than him and his 8th grade teacher.
Huh.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It says that a little bit in the article, yeah.
Like,
wow.
We forgot to mention this, but
yeah, they were kind of weirdos.
The pictures, like I just read a tiny portion of the story, right? I mean, this story goes on and on and on and on and on, and there's more than a dozen pictures, and let's see, Each barrel that Batamy had packed for them contains enough food for 84 people to live 4 months on 2,000 calories a day.
Wow.
Right, and he had dozens of, like, there's a picture here with the barrels March 17, 18, 19, 20. So he had like close to 24 barrels.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Get it, dude. Bless him.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just like this story is just, it's like I want to shake this guy's hand. You know, it's one of those type of stories.
Right.
Oh.
Faith in humanity restored for a little while.
Yes. It's one of those stories. Yes, Paul, I will post the article or the link to that in the show comments. I'll message it to you first, and then I'll post it in the show notes.
Paul trying to benefit off of somebody else's positive story.
I hope Paul writes it up. I hope he writes it up.
I'm kidding.
Do we see how that works out? This man has probably managed to feed more people than Red Cross has in the same situation.
Seriously.
And found a family, somebody to team up with and for mutual aid and things like that.
And
all without government.
And he did it without the taxpayer dime.
Yep.
Amen.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yep. That guy is incredible. I want to shake it. I seriously want to shake this guy's hand and be like, dude, you rock.
And it's funny because back in the day, that's how things used to work. You know what I mean? People would work through their, local communities or whatever, through their churches or whatever. Not saying you have to be religious or anything, but that's kind of how the support structure was set up back in the day. And Ron Paul was one of the people that, brought that to my attention, years ago, and said that, all these things that, we consider charity or whatever,
because government wasn't always in the welfare game.
Exactly.
Not until the early 1900s.
We helped each other.
And before that, there were private mutual aid societies that you could belong to. Mm-hmm. And I mean, people act like without government, everybody would fucking starve. People used to help. What do you think people did before government fed people?
Yeah.
Government exists and people still starve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, as a result of.
Yeah, some as a result of the government, Just
yes.
If government just got the fuck out of the way, people wouldn't be as bad off.
Thank you.
Yep. So, yeah, on the fuck the government note, we've been on 2 hours now.
Oh shit. Oh. Yeah, I'm fucking beat, man.
I only got 3 Granny Squares done.
It went fast, you guys.
It did go fast. It always goes fast.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess
that's the last thing you want to hear a woman say.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, that's not.
She could have said, "Is it in yet?"
Here we go. Yeah, right.
No, because my point was, it feels like it goes fast, because we're having so much fun. You want a woman to say that. You're gonna be going for 2 hours and have a woman say, "I want more."
This is true.
That's not enough.
The Karl Marx theory of labor. But I did it for 2 hours.
You get what I give you.
That's right.
So, yeah, all right.
You'd have to tie me up first to accept it.
Don't kill us, the means Kevin. Of reproduction.
Don't kill us, Kevin. Don't kill us.
Right?
See, in a meme-based economy, we could trade memes for certain services.
This is true.
That's right.
So,
I'd even trade the fucking memes of reproduction or memes of production for the means of reproduction.
Right.
That made sense, right? Yeah, I think it did.
Kind of. I might be drunk enough for that to actually make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's like pretty much where I'm at right now.
I read an article. I read an article earlier. I think it was D.C., District of Columbia. One of the council members submitted a bill that was also approved by another council member that would decriminalize prostitution.
Huh. I better get in the game.
In DC of all places.
DC's always been full of prostitutes. That's all
for real.
Fucking Capitol building.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just call them senators and congressmen.
Right.
Why does your Capitol building look like a tit?
All right, you guys, 2 hours. Let's
Yep.
close it out.
On that note about prostitution.
Yeah, on that note about prostitution and happy preppers. Yeah, so all right. Good night, you guys.
And meme-based economy.
And meme-based economy. And
right,
vote hoarder, not harder.
Right.
For a meme-based economy.
Vote hoarder.
And decriminalize recreational news. Peace.
Decriminalize everything.
Peace.
For the most part.